For the better part of a century, the automotive hierarchy has been as rigid and unyielding as the British class system itself. At the very summit of this mountain, sitting on a throne that seemed untouchable, were the British aristocrats, Rolls-Royce and Bentley. Their dominance was not merely about statistics or lap times. It was about a feeling. It was about the wafty sensation of a V12 engine that whispered rather than shouted. It was about the smell of Connolly leather that had been cured in secret tanneries for months. It was about the sheer, overwhelming arrogance of their physical presence. To own a Rolls-Royce Cullinan or a Bentley Bentayga was to tell the world that you had transcended the need for technology. You didn't need innovation. You had heritage. You had the spirit of ecstasy leading the way, a silver lady who had seen empires rise and fall. The Germans tried to replicate this with Maybach, but it felt too clinical, too precise. The Americans tried with Cadillac, but it felt too crude, too loud. The British felt safe in their castle, believing that true luxury was something that could not be engineered in a lab or a factory. It was something you had to inherit over generations. But while the West was busy polishing its silverware and debating the ethics of leather sourcing, a ghost was being constructed in the East. A machine designed not to compete, but to conquer. This is the Zeekr 8X. Within the Geely Group, it is known by the codename Project X1E. But to the rest of the world, it represents a fundamental shift in the tectonic plates of the global automotive industry. This is not a cheaper alternative to a Range Rover. It is a technological assassin sent to dismantle the very idea of old money. It does not care about the history of Crewe or Goodwood. It does not care about how many hours an artisan spent sanding a piece of walnut veneer. It cares about physics. It cares about digital dominance. Today, we are going to dissect the machine that proves the balance of power has shifted forever. We are going to explore why a Chinese plug-in hybrid with nearly 1,400 horsepower is not just a new SUV. It is the meteor that is coming for the dinosaurs. The era of heritage is ending. The era of brute force engineering has begun. Let's address the most controversial aspect of this vehicle immediately: the face. In recent years, we have become accustomed to the EV look, smooth, grille-less faces that look like robots or appliances. Tesla started it, and the rest of the Chinese market followed, creating cars that looked friendly, approachable, and digital. But looking at the Zeekr 8X, you realize that Zeekr has done something far more dangerous. They haven't rejected the past. They have stolen it. Look at that grille. It is a massive, vertical cascade of chrome slats that dominates the entire front end. It is not trying to hide its nature. It stands proud, upright, and defiant. It is a direct, unapologetic mimicry of the legendary Pantheon grille of Rolls-Royce. But where the British grille is static and dignified, this feels aggressive. It pushes wider, it sits lower, and it looks angrier. Why would a modern Chinese company do this? Because this is a plug-in hybrid. It has a combustion engine breathing behind that metal, and it wants you to know it. It tells the world, I am not just a computer, I am a machine with a heart of fire. Flanking this chrome waterfall is a split headlight design that is pure intimidation. Razor-thin LED daggers sit high on the bonnet line, frowning at the traffic, while the main matrix beams are hidden in the bumper below, invisible until they ignite. This is not a friendly face. It is not a tech face designed to appeal to Silicon Valley. It is a face of pure, old-school arrogance. It looks at a Bentley Bentayga and sneers. It is the ultimate power move, taking the most iconic symbol of British luxury, the vertical chrome grille, and putting it on a Chinese super SUV to prove that they can wear the suit better than the original owners. Won 381 horsepower. When rumors of the Rolls-Royce Killer first surfaced, the industry assumed Zeekr would build a pure EV to challenge the Spectre. But Zeekr understands the psychology of the us uber-rich, better than we gave them credit for. Their target clients, the sheikhs in Dubai, the oligarchs in Moscow, the ranch owners in Texas, do not want range anxiety. They do not want to plan their lives around charging stations. They want infinite freedom. They want to drive across continents without stopping. Thus, the Zeekr 8X is a PHEV, plug-in hybrid. But do not confuse this with the hybrid system you find in a Toyota Prius or a family crossover. This is a weaponized powertrain derived from military-grade thinking. It combines a high-output 2.0-liter turbocharged petrol engine, acting primarily as a generator but capable of driving the wheels directly, with 3 ultra-high-performance electric motors, 1 on the front axle, 2 on the rear. The numbers are frankly obscene. The combined output is rated at 1030 kilowatts. In the old language of power, that is 1,381 brake horsepower. Let that sink in for a moment. This family SUV has more power than a Bugatti Veyron. It has nearly double the power of a Lamborghini Urus Performante. It makes the 600 horsepower of a Rolls-Royce Cullinan look pathetic. Why? Why do you need 1,181 horsepower in a 3-ton luxury barge? Because in this segment, excess is the only thing that matters. You don't buy a nuclear weapon to use it, you buy it to know that you can. The acceleration from 0 to 100 km/h is projected to be in the low 2-second range. Imagine the physics of that. 3 tons of steel, glass, and leather, launching off the line faster than a Formula One car in the wet. It sends a brutal message to the W12 engines of Europe. You are loud, you are heavy, and you are obsolete. To understand the threat the Zeekr 8X poses, we must analyze the canvas upon which it is painted. In the ultra-luxury segment, size is the only currency that matters. If you are small, you are invisible. The Zeekr 8X is a leviathan. It stretches over 5.2 meters in length, with a wheelbase exceeding 3.2 meters. To put that into perspective, it effectively mirrors the footprint of the Rolls-Royce Cullinan and significantly overshadows the Porsche Cayenne or the Range Rover SV. But the crucial difference lies in how that space is utilized. The British heavyweights are built on platforms that are, by definition, compromised. They must accommodate massive internal combustion engines, long bonnets, exhaust systems, and thick transmission tunnels that run through the spine of the car, eating into passenger space. The Zeekr 8X rejects this compromise. It utilizes a stretched-out flagship version of the C, sustainable experience architecture. This is a skateboard platform pushed to its absolute theoretical limits. Because the combustion engine component is compact and the electric motors are integrated into the axles, the wheels have been pushed to the absolute corners of the chassis. The result is an interior volume that defies logic. The floor is completely flat, a vast expanse of carpet with no intrusion from a drive shaft. This allows for a cabin layout that feels less like a car and more like a private jet fuselage. The exterior design follows a philosophy of monolithic fluidity, monoway. The glass is flush with the bodywork. The sensors, LiDAR and cameras, are integrated into the watchtower above the windscreen, a design cue borrowed from the Lotus Elytra, but refined here to look like a crown. It is a brick that slices through the wind, proof that you don't need to look aerodynamic to be efficient. Power is nothing without control, and weight is the enemy of agility. Rolls-Royce mastered the magic carpet ride, using air suspension to isolate the cabin from the road. Zeekr is attempting to beat them with magnetic levitation. The 8X is equipped with roof-mounted LiDAR sensors that act as the eyes of the suspension system. They scan the road surface up to 500 meters ahead, identifying potholes, speed bumps, and changes in tarmac texture. The central computer processes this data in milliseconds and pre-adjusts the electromagnetic dampers before the wheel even hits the bump. The car effectively anticipates the road, erasing imperfections before the passengers can feel them. It is a proactive system, whereas the British systems are largely reactive. But the 8X goes further. It wants to dance, thanks to the independent control of its electric motors. Privacy is the new luxury step inside, and you realize that the true battleground is the interior. The Zeekr 8X is expected to launch with a flagship 4-seater executive configuration. The seats are dubbed cloud sofas, utilizing a 10-layer structure of memory foam, silk, and breathable vegan leather that rivals the softness of the finest hides. But comfort is merely the baseline. The new luxury is privacy. The 8X introduces a feature we call the privacy bunker. With a single voice command, the electrochromic windows instantly turn opaque black, blocking out the outside world completely. Automated blinds rise from the door cards. In the top-spec Majesty trim, a partition wall rises between the driver and the rear passengers, featuring a massive OLED screen. Instantly, the rear cabin becomes a soundproof vault. You are isolated from the paparazzi, the traffic, and the noise. Zeekr has also addressed the screen fatigue of modern cars. Instead of a Mercedes-style hyperscreen that screams for attention, the technology in the 8X is shy-tech. The controls are haptic, buried under open-pore wood or fabric surfaces, only lighting up when your hand approaches. The sound system is a bespoke partnership, likely Yamaha or Hasselblad, with 30 speakers, including units integrated into the headrests for active noise cancellation. It creates a cone of silence around each passenger. It is not just a car interior, it is a wellness pod designed to lower your heart rate. You might be tempted to dismiss this as another China-only curiosity that will never leave the streets of Shanghai. That would be a fatal mistake. The project code X1E specifically hints at export and Europe. Zeekr is already listed on the New York Stock Exchange. They are already selling cars in Europe, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. The 8X is their flagship. It is their ambassador to the world. They are targeting the markets where status is everything. They want the 8X parked outside the Burj Al Arab in Dubai. They want it in the driveways of Beverly Hills. They want it ferrying diplomats in Geneva. And here lies the scariest part for the competition: the price. While a Rolls-Royce Cullinan commands a price tag upwards of $500,000, the Zeekr 8X exploits China's vertically integrated supply chain. They own the battery factories. They own the chip manufacturers. They own the software. This allows them to bring the 8X to market at a price point that will likely undercut the European rivals by 50%, while offering double the horsepower and superior technology. It forces the consumer to ask a very uncomfortable question. Am I paying $200,000 extra just for a badge, when the cheaper car is faster, quieter, and more advanced? The value of heritage begins to evaporate. The automotive world is fueled by nostalgia. We love our history. We love the stories of the Bentley boys racing trains across Europe. We love the romance of the Spirit of Ecstasy. But nostalgia is not a business strategy. The Zeekr 8X is a brutal, cold wake-up call. It proves that heritage can be a burden, while Rolls-Royce is trapped by its own traditions, forced to make cars that look and feel classic. To satisfy the purists, Zeekr is free. They are free to use 1,300 horsepower hybrid engines. They are free to use chrome grilles as a statement of aggression rather than tradition. They are free to redefine what a luxury car is for the 21st century. The Zeekr 8X is not just a competitor. It is a mirror held up to the European industry. And the reflection is ugly. It shows that the old world has become complacent, relying on brand image, while the new world has been relentlessly engineering the future. Is this the end of the British Empire of luxury? Perhaps not today. The brand loyalty to Rolls-Royce is strong. But looking at the 8X, you get the distinct feeling that the sun is finally setting on the British Empire. The executioner has arrived, and it is wearing a digital face and a chrome suit.